Welcome to Envision, the future of voice AI. As you can all see, artificial intelligence is everywhere. And over the last decade, the maturity of the data platforms, the maturity of the cloud applications and cloud capabilities of the companies, and third, the proliferation of IoT devices has accelerated the impact that AI can have on business functions. You can clearly see that over the last few years, the driverless cars are actually becoming a more of a reality. Virtual assistants, which were not even a concept, not a concept that was used in production in 5 years, 10 years back. Right now, you can see every organization have a game plan or a production capabilities of voice and chat-based virtual assistants. You can clearly see insurance companies predicting risk of their policies upfront and managing their entire business using artificial intelligence. You can also see manufacturing companies using a combination of IoT devices to predict the repairs, faults in their machinery upfront and take preventive actions. So we have clearly seen that AI has ramped from being a visionary concept to something that is producing significant and impactful business value over the last few years. And the last 1 year, there's been a 62% increase in the number of enterprises across the world looking at or implementing artificial intelligence to improve their core business processes and trying to deliver impact to their top line and bottom line. The current spend of artificial intelligence is about $20 billion that enterprises are investing every single year to drive the adoption of artificial intelligence across their companies. But implementing artificial intelligence is not as simple as implementing enterprise application that most of the enterprises have been used to. This really involves building a large set of capability within the company to think in terms of AI applications. AI applications by nature are living organisms that improve every single day, unlike static applications that we have been used to. The second aspect is about piloting these applications in specific fundamental focus areas and then taking those learnings and scaling the implementation across the organization and across these business functions. While enterprises are putting in a lot of resources to pilot and expand the capabilities of AI at their companies, the results are not looking as great as we would have expected. About only 50 to 60% of automation projects are being successful. And there are about 19% of enterprises that are doing some kind of pilots, and only 5% of enterprises right now have fully scaled AI projects across the divisions of the company. We all know that we'll be in a different world over the next 5-10 years, and it is imperative for every single enterprise to reach these milestones and deploy artificial intelligence and automation at scale to be competitive in the new world and get ahead of competition. So as a company, we are focused on enabling AI for the field of customer experience. And we thought we'll do something about this entire problem of artificial intelligence not really seeing its light of the day at a lot of enterprises, and how we can all come together and create a community and a content property to share our knowledge, share the best practices, and envision about how the future of enterprises would look like by really leveraging AI to the best possible extent. And a month of hard work towards building Envision as a thought leadership content property for the future of AI has led to us to this first event which is focused towards voice AI as a means of enhancing customer and employee experience. Envision is really a thought leadership content property where we'll have an amalgamation of events, podcasts, articles, research papers, all of them oriented towards helping businesses envision and leverage AI as a core component of their business. As a part of Envision, we are bringing together some of the best thought leaders. We are bringing practitioners, visionaries, and industry experts in under one roof to come and share their insights and thoughts to overall improve the ecosystem of AI and enterprises. We'll use this platform to freely exchange ideas, share unbiased opinions, and share really the case studies and use cases so that we all learn together and improve our output and impact to the world as a community. So I'm super excited and to really launch this event today and invite you all and invite you all to launch our first event, which is Envision the Future of Voice AI. And today we have a lineup of some exciting speakers throughout the day. And I really love for all of you to join in welcoming the panelists and the speakers that are coming in throughout the day. And I'll just talk to you about some of the speakers that we have today. We have Riaz Ladiwala from Edelweiss. We have Kane Sims from VUX World. We have Arjun S from FA Group. We have Bradley Metrock from Project Voice. We have Ashish Chauhan from Teleperformance. We have Pitachi Pichappan from Concentrix. We have Neha Wardlekar from Edelweiss. And we have Sridhar S from Oasis Insurance. So with that, I'll move out to the more exciting part of the day. And I invite Riaz on the virtual stage to deliver the keynote, the first keynote of Envision, the future of voice AI. So welcome onto the stage, Riaz, and wish you all an exciting day ahead. Thank you very much.
Hi everyone, many congratulations Raghu for the rebranding, the relaunch of your brand, new platform. I've been interacting with the team and I think it's a fabulous platform. And I'm sure you guys will do really very well. This is just a quick audio check and I'll just share my screen. Just let me know when you're able to see it. Are you able to see my screen?
Thank you, Riaz. Absolutely, we can see it.
I've put it now into the presentation mode. Is it still visible as a presentation?
Yes, it is visible.
Fabulous. So welcome everyone to this session, which is will voice make or break your customer experience? This is actually a rhetorical question because the world is already moved in that direction. But it's only a way of, establishing how we can, make the most of it along this journey. If some of us have already embarked upon it and some of us will embark upon this journey. So I'm going to start off with a video and it's not a very recent video. It's not very old also. But this is probably a watershed moment in the entire journey of voice AI. And I'm going to play it now for about 2 minutes. And do let me know that you can hear the audio because that's really very important. Okay.
As I said earlier, our vision for our assistant is to help you get things done. It turns out a big part of getting things done is making a phone call. You may want to get an oil change schedule, maybe call a plumber in the middle of the week, or even schedule a haircut appointment. We are working hard to help users through those moments. We want to connect users to businesses in a good way. Businesses actually rely a lot on this, but even in the US, 60% of small businesses don't have an online booking system set up. We think AI can help with this problem. So let's go back to this example. Let's say you want to ask Google to make you a haircut appointment on Tuesday between 10 and noon. What happens is the Google Assistant makes the call seamlessly in the background for you. So what you're going to hear is the Google Assistant actually calling a real salon to schedule the appointment for you. Let's listen.
So how can I help you? Hi, I'm calling to book a women's haircut for a client. I'm looking for something on May 3rd. Sure, give me 1 second. Sure, what time are you looking for around? At 12 p.m. We do not have a 12 p.m. available. The closest we have to that is a 1:15. Do you have anything between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m.? Depending on what service she would like. What service is she looking for? Just a woman's haircut for now. Okay, we have a 10 o'clock. 10 a.m. is fine. Okay, what's her first name? The first name is Lisa. Okay, perfect. So I will see Lisa at 10 o'clock on May 3rd. Okay, great. Thanks. Great. Have a great day. Bye.
That was a real call you just heard. The amazing thing is the assistant can actually understand the nuances of conversation. We've been working on this tech.
So this is actually, and you can go to YouTube. There is a second part of this call, and I'm giving that as a small homework to you guys, so you can actually go ahead. So if you look at it from a, the reason why I chose that video is really, that video is about 3 years ago, in 2017, 2018, when Google launched Google Duplex. And it was a watershed moment in the history of voice AI, because this was amongst the first times when you could actually have a real life conversation which appeared so seamless. And how did we get till here? If you look at it, there are really two parts, and the focus of mine is really going to be in terms of use of AI in customer experience. If you look at the entire journey over the last couple of decades, you started with what we called as in-store interactions when there was no internet. So you went to a store and the storekeeper probably know you by name. He knew what your preferences were. And over a period of time, that in-store interaction graduated to telephone, which led to the proliferation of a lot of call centers who are taking calls and trying to understand, which graduated to email, and people just loved email. So because that just appeared to be significantly cheaper than telephone. And over a period of time, over the last 10, 15 years, we've graduated to where people could interact with businesses through social media. There was a phase, and it still continues, for a lot of workflow automation, where you could automate emails, you could automate sort of voice phone calls being made out. And probably we're in a fairly mature stage from a text chatbots point of view. And now the next area, which has already begun maybe about 2-3 years ago, is in the area of voice chatbots. And one example of that is what you saw, the call that Sundar Pichai demonstrated over there. From a point of view, so you've seen how the evolution of customer experience has changed. And mind you, while the customer experience has changed, one thing that has not changed about customer behavior is that when they reach out to you, they still expect that you will make them feel special. You will still give them as close to a personalized experience as possible. So the technology may change, the platforms to deliver may change. However, the basic human expectation which is there, that doesn't change at all. And that will not change despite whatever technologies will come. Basic human expectation, and that is an important point for you to keep in mind. You're actually at the end of the day dealing with human beings, and that is their emotions, their fears, insecurities. When they reach out to you, you have to keep that in mind. If you look at the evolution of voice AI, primarily you'll see it in the last sort of 20 years or so. And since 2011, when Siri came up, followed now, by Google now. And in 2017 and 18 is when you saw Google Duplex. After that, a lot of work on the back end. I've not really seen significant work on the front end. Though what has changed now is that uh, third-party APIs are now available. So you can integrate an Alexa, you can integrate a Google APIs into your application to make it appear like a seamless experience for your end customer. And obviously there is Cortana, Alexa, all of these which are there, which are driving user interactions and customer behavior as well. How has the industry panned out? If you look at it from a voice AI, you'll find the use case across a ton of personal and business apps, and these are probably the top 10, 12 applications that where the use is there. Otherwise, if you reach out to the internet and you Google up, there's a ton of white papers which are available, and people have found their own unique ways to use AI, and specifically voice AI also. So the most common applications where in today's world you and me are probably exposed to our personal assistants in the form of Siri or Alexa, Cortana, and you do a voice search or you do a voice to text. So how many of us would have used YouTube and you would have found automated subtitling happening, one of the options that you get. So that's really where the voice to text comes in. Or if you want to just check the weather or play a Bollywood song, you would just call out to Alexa saying, hey, Alexa, play the top Bollywood numbers, and it will do it for you. Or if you are even seeking a recipe, that will do it for you. In terms of business applications, probably the biggest use case which is there is in the area of customer service, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. There's also real-time sentiment analytics which are there. The technology has, graduated, and it is improving so rapidly that now you have the ability that in real time for you to understand whether the person who is calling you, whether he's happy, whether he's unhappy, or what is the emotion just from listening to his voice. And this can find great use not just in terms of customer service, but you imagine a patient calling a doctor in a COVID or in a pandemic, and for a doctor to get some kind of sentiment analytics of what is the mental state of this person just by listening to his voice can also help you from a point of view of pre-sales. And last but not the least is also voice biometrics, not just for security, while that is probably the biggest use case which is there for voice biometrics. But you can also imagine that if a person is calling the call center, today it requires that person to authenticate himself, right, or herself. You call a call center because you need something to be done for your bank account or something for your credit card. And it is likely that the customer service representative has all the necessary tools and the data, but it still requires you to validate yourself to establish that it is Riaz Ladiwala who's calling. But you imagine a world if they recognized my voice, because I trained the system, they made me do a small, simple process where it recorded my voice. And on the basis of that voice, it can actually tell you, or it would tell the customer service representative saying that this is Riaz who is calling, and it just threw you up all the information about Riaz on the CRM, and you could just take it. So a lot of places where, and that is the centerpiece which is there of where the innovation is really, really happening using voice AI. And the third one which is there, and in terms of, and like I said, I'll talk a little bit more about customer service. It's crazy the amount of applications that are available and the amount of use cases that are today available, for you to get. In terms of industry applications, automotive, academic, media marketing, I mean, voice to text, you could basically just type out in diagnostics. We are finding where doctors are just typing out their diagnostics, speaking into a machine, and the machine takes the notes. If you look at automotives, all of us now are used to having a button on our steering wheel which says that you can talk to the car. If you look at the new generation of cars which are now available in India, the not so expensive ones also, like the Seltos, or you look at the MG Hector, which are positioning themselves as futuristic cars, you can actually talk to the car. You can ask it to, to the voice assistant, and it will, open the sunroof for you or change the temperature of the air conditioning which is there. So a lot of places where voice AI is finding a use, focus is really today in the discussion from a customer service point of view. I'll just allow you to just absorb this, which is there. I mean, I'm sure some of you will go through this and say, yes, I've gone through this to this earlier. So obviously, when we talk about customer service and the question of integrating everything all together. So we've already been through that phase where today there are chatbots which are available and they're getting smarter, and we'll talk about what are the downsides of these kind of chatbots. But obviously, voice bots or AI in voice is an extension of that, where you are able to speak, and there's a lot of technology that goes into the background, because there's something about voice that text cannot capture, or it may not be able to capture quite as intelligently as voice could, is understanding the context and the intent which is there. So you're able to throw out better results. So what's really driving voice AI? So from a customer behavior, I mean, in terms of the environment ecosystem, mobility is already, I mean, that is a bridge we've crossed years ago. But if you see in terms of customer behavior, especially the younger generation which is there is a feeling of, they want to do self-service as opposed to being served. The feeling of empowerment that comes because they are able to complete an activity on your own, as opposed to waiting for, somebody to get back to you, etc. And that is the second driver as well, saying that you want instant gratification. If I've asked a question, I want to know the answer right now. And obviously, because mobile adoption and cheap calling rates or reaching out in terms of even data, as opposed to calling through mobile and waiting for a really long period of time on, very troublesome IVRs I don't want to take, but a leading bank which is there, the average waiting time on that is no less on the IVR of about 3.5 to 4 minutes. You actually wait for 3.5 to 4 minutes, running through, different options on the IVR till the time you're actually able to reach a human being, which is there. So a lot of statistics to be, in terms of customer behavior, and these are all obviously driving change as technology progresses, expectations change of customers. A lot of customers expect the business to be available 24/7. Most people don't mind that who's solving their problem as long as their problem gets solved. In fact, most people, if you saw the demo that I sort of played in terms of the video, most customers over a period of time will not actually realize that they are actually being helped by a machine as opposed to a human being. So they will become agnostic to it. I think the most important statistic in this entire thing, and that is one of the pitfalls of using AI and not understanding how to use it well, is that 86% of users, when they were surveyed, they expect that there should be an option to transfer to a live agent. And there has to be a point in the journey of the customer when the bot realizes that it's not able to help the customer, and immediately transfers it to a live human being who's able to understand the context significantly better than a machine. That is something that's really, really very important, and this will come up further on in the presentation as well. So customer behavior is a really, a big item which is there. Most customers prefer human interaction. as opposed to, they want personalized special treatment which is there. Then the second part, obviously, what is driving is from a corporate point of view, bots are marginally expensive to set up, to train, but they're, once they're set up, they are relatively inexpensive to run. Bots will show measurable improvement in tax and SLAs. You are able to, because it's all a machine, you are able to, and that's the beauty, as well as, it depends how you want to see it. Bots are essentially emotionless. So they just work. They don't have an issue because they've had a fight at home or whatever, which other issues you may have when you're dealing with human beings. And they can drive improvement in sales productivity and efficiency. If a machine is able to take care of mundane tasks, then it leaves the workforce to focus on things which are far more important and productive, right? If you look at the last, statistics, the chatbots can help answer close to 80% of routine questions. We did, as part of, in my career, about a year and a half ago, we integrated a simple chatbot during the launch of India's first debt ETF, Bharat Bond. And the results were fabulous. We were able to reduce the number of calls coming into our call center by close to 30%, because the clients were able to do almost 50 to 60% of their transaction journey using the chatbot. And at a particular point in the journey, then it would push you to a screen where you completed the rest of the activity. Most of the questions were as if you were speaking to an individual saying, sir, what's your PAN card? Okay, if you put your PAN card, say, just give me a moment, I'm just checking whether your PAN card is active or not. These kind of experiences that you're able to drive, I mean, the number of applications that we were able to drive was significant as compared to the overall pool of money that we raised. So from an efficiency point of view, I mean, there is just no comparison between a bot and a human being. A bot will beat a human being significantly, hands down. And the last but not the least is scale. Bots are able to run 24/7. They can run, you can run multiple queries on it. They can handle significantly large number of queries at the same time. So especially for businesses which are dependent on people calling in, writing into them, I mean, this is where a bot can really sort of change the game for you. And this is a real sort of number where JP Morgan saved more than 360,000 hours just using his chatbot to quickly analyze complex backend contracts. So this is, I mean, there is a very strong case, and the purpose of today's meeting is not really, it's just about helping you make a case when you're talking to your internal management. There is a very clear use case which is there. But having said all of that, I mean, the direction is very clear. The direction is very clear that bots are here to stay. They're not going away, and they are getting far more intelligent over a period of time. But yes, it's a journey. It's a journey, and yes, there are tweaks. So there will be sometimes somebody who's saying, I have a technical problem, and the bot might read it as a ticklish button, or in he's saying operator, and the bot might saying, you know what, you'd like to call back later. So it can be a frustrating experience, but it's all a question of training the bot. It's a question of getting the journey right and understanding what it takes to build a voice bot and a voice and applying voice AI, which we'll talk about a little. I think this is one of, while in my entire reading and my experience, I think this is probably the highlight of the entire presentation. If I had to sum it up in one sentence, this is the sentence that I would use: that building a bot is easy. In fact, there are so many tools which are available now with backend and front ends which are available, where you can train a bot very, very easily. But it is difficult to build a useful one. To make something useful, that is where the challenge is. And I have constantly believed that when you're building a consumer product, and most interfaces that we do today, products that we offer, even though they may be financial products or they may be industrial products, they're actually consumer products. They're meant to work even when the support staff is not really available. And the way you can do that is only by spending an inordinate amount of time in looking through the user journey and seeing, are there any dead ends in the journey? Is there a place, at what place am I going to do the handover from a bot to a human being? So if you're able to understand and just obsess about the customer journey and how you can make the bot useful. So there are certain pitfalls which are there, regarding building a bot. So there's a lot of issues around data gathering, and most applications, legacy applications built in India and a large part, I dare say, in the world, which I have seen, they're not really built for capturing of data. A bot requires a lot of data. Artificial intelligence by itself requires a lot of data. It relies on evidence. It requires on something that's happened in the past to be able to predict what is likely to happen in future. So you've got to build your backend. It's just not about having a bot in place. It's also about continuously capturing every data point that you are able to capture so that you're able to train the bot better. So if you're putting in a bot in place, make sure you've got a very robust data capturing mechanism. And secondly, you're able to use that data to actually drive it back into the bot so that it's constantly learning and it's improving. There is a very big age bias which are there, bias when it comes to implementing a bot, which is there, the younger generation, obviously. So you will find people between 18 to about 35, 36 years are able to, or maybe up to 40 years, who are very quickly able to adapt to a bot. They may realize they're speaking to a machine, but probably around 40, and those are statistics today. It's about changing customer behavior, but there is a bias. Bots appeal to a younger generation. Bots don't appeal to an older generation. So you've got to make sure that when you're building your bot, you also got to keep that age bias in mind. Change management is probably the toughest sort of this entire thing, that how do you change a customer's behavior? And the amount of time that you will spend in terms of training, the bot. And there's a lot of material that's available in terms of saying that make your bot less complex, make it simple, identify what you want your bot to do, and make sure that it gets really, really very good at performing that activity. And that is something that's going to help to drive the change, right? But it's time consuming, and therefore you have to be mentally prepared that it's a journey. When I was in the US in 2014, that was probably the first time when we met the team at E-Trade, they were amongst the earliest to have integrated voice into their E-Trade mobile application. I mean, the E-Trade mobile application in those days was an award-winning application. They were amongst the first to integrate voice. But even in those days, they had probably less than 0.5 or 0.2% of their clients who are actually using voice, because they have to drive the change. So did they drop voice from their application? Absolutely not. They kept on training it so that I don't have the current statistics, but the option is still there on the app. So I'm sure that they're doing much better than those numbers that day. Accuracy of the bot is something, and this is where the training, you have to keep on testing. There are multiple types of tests that you actually do. It's also the amount of time that you invest in terms of making sure you're connected to the right service providers who can improve the level of accuracy so that the words sound the same across multiple languages. Because when you're dealing with a country like India, where you will have multiple dialects, pronunciations, training the app, training the bot is something, the most important issue which is there. There are also issues around data privacy. This entire thing runs on the cloud. So who knows what about what customer? There are concerns. I'm sure they'll get addressed over a period of time. And yes, it's an emerging industry in India. So there are lack of skills which are there. But amongst people who can understand what it takes to build a bot. I'm sure you will have very smart people like Yellow.ai who have, the technical expertise. But I think from a business point of view, you need people who are passionate enough and who understand what it takes to build a bot and to what it takes to constantly fine tune to get the results which are there, because it's just not about implementing a voice bot and hoping everything will get right. It's a question of constantly looking at the results, going back, testing, looking at the results, going back. It's a journey. Just as you train a human being, and you normally would do about 2-3 levels of training, refresher courses, so that the training is effective for a human being, you probably have to spend 10x of amount of time in terms of training a bot so that it ultimately performs the function that it's meant to do. So, this is probably the most, the numbers are right out there. If you speak to business leaders, they're all going to realize, because this normally at any particular point of time, and now in my 25th year since I started my first job, and I've never faced a situation where my boss came and told me, saying that, what, we've got an unlimited budget this year. Every year, your boss always came back to you saying that, what, we've got to figure out a way to optimize the budget. We've got to find a way to do more with less. And my boss, being my boss, he always found an innovative way to communicate this to me. So there's always going to be pressure, and virtual assistants, emails and chatbots, automation always comes across as a way to save money and to drive up productivity over a period of time. So this is probably one of the biggest items on the CEO's end right now. I'm almost at the fag end. So really, why choose voice over text? I mean, that's a fact. People tend to prefer. They like to speak to human beings. I've seen it. I've been in the wealth management business for a really long period of time. You do have a lot of platforms that now allow you, DIY wealth management, and that works well for people as long as they have a limited amount of money and their problems that they're trying to solve are simple. I'm trying to invest 25, 30,000 rupees a month. Tell me 5 investments where I can put my money every month. Very simple. An automated machine will help you do it. But the moment it gets complex, the moment you have a couple of crores to invest, even though you're an expert, sometimes you want to have somebody to talk to because you want to, get their opinion. So it's very similar in any other industry as well. As long as the problem is simple, you want to order a pizza, a standard pizza, there's no problem. You can speak to a machine. The moment it gets complex, then you want to speak to a human being, and there's no replacement as of now that I have seen. Secondly, is that definitely speaking is a faster way to explain a problem than typing. And the recent advances in voice technologies, unbelievable. You have to understand, however, there's a very big difference between text and voice. And the difference in text and voice, so everyone has probably learned of NLP, right? Which is understanding, what is being said. But when it comes to voice, you'll probably hear about NLU, where is understanding the language and the context and the intent behind it. The voice of a human being is an extremely powerful input parameter. And I remember a couple of years ago in my previous avatar, where I was interacting with a company in Chennai, where they were doing a lot of work on voice. And he was telling me that the voice of a human being, just as we have very specific patterns for our fingerprints, just as there is a very clear pattern to our iris, right, which are typically what we use in biometrics. He was telling me, Riaz, you'll be surprised. They had more than 70 parameters which they run in real time to be able to identify that the voice belongs to Riaz. And then they had another set of parameters which then determine whether when Riaz said something, Was he angry or was he happy? Was he being sarcastic or was he being serious? They had a host of, so the amount of data processing that actually takes place, it's a far more complex piece than just working on text, which will probably just look at context. But voice is able to capture intent. And obviously, yes, people will put, there are ways to capture intent even in text, but in voice, it gets a lot more complex, but it's a lot more accurate than when you're doing it in text. So there is a lot of ways to this, and obviously the effectiveness is significantly better. I mean, if you heard that voice, if you were sitting on the other side of that call, taking the call with the, you were the lady at the salon, you wouldn't realize that you were talking to a machine, and would have made no difference to you. And again, I'll recommend when you have time, go and watch the other 2 minutes of the video where it actually introduces a level of complexity, and the language is a lot different. So you will enjoy that experience. So tons of reasons why to choose voice over text. And there's a lot of research which is available. So how do you choose the bot platform? You look at a bot platform. So when you're speaking to someone, look at the NLU capabilities. What are the engines that they are deploying at the back end to make sure that they're able to get the context and the accuracy right? How quickly or easy can it be deployed? Can it be trained? What are the use cases that can manage? There are all kinds of pricing models which are there. There are setup costs, there are pay per use. All of those pricing models exist. It's an evolving industry. And then I think the one important point is it's also its ability to manage bias. There will be biases that will creep in into because so the biases are a function of what kind of training it's been given at the back. So that's an important question that you need to ask when you're deploying a bot. So lots of stuff which is there, and I'm telling you, there's tons of material, really simple material that is available out there. And we've had some sort of experiences. We've done some POCs, especially from a compliance point of view, in a business like ours, which requires you to make sure that you have the recordings which are there. For every phone, for every order, I deal with the stock market, where every order that comes in from a client, if he's speaking to a dealer, needs to be recorded. And we don't have the legislation in place where we can do an automated voice bot to take in orders. SEBI is not yet comfortable with that. They need somebody to speak to a machine, to a human being rather, as opposed to a machine. But every recording which is there, that can be analyzed, every call that comes into the call center. So we're in the process of doing some POCs around that. So we're having good experiences, and I'm sure as this technology gets better, there'll be a lot more on the table for everyone. And I think with that, I'm nearing the end of my time. I think I've just got a couple of minutes. Many thanks, everyone. Thank you, Yellow AI. I wish you all the best. Thank you for having me here. This was a great session, and I look forward to your success.
Thanks. Yes. Pleasure having you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.